Hi, guys. Welcome back to The Baseline. Thanks again for watching. Today, we're going to be talking about Trump, Iran, and the Zionist setup. How one mistake could ignite World War III. Now, what do you call a former news anchor turned defense minister, a real estate developer running the Middle East diplomacy, and a U.S. president listening to a man accused of war crimes? And some people, they might call that a setup, and potentially a very dangerous one. Because right now, behind the headlines and the propaganda, a geopolitical time bomb is ticking. And it's got the words Trump, Netanyahu, and Iran written all over it. And this isn't just about foreign policy. This is about whether the next few months decide peace or apocalypse. So buckle up, guys, because what we're about to break down might shake everything you think about what you know is really going on in the Middle East right now. So let's not waste time. Here's the brutal truth, as truth often is, right? Trump is listening to Netanyahu, a man who's not just fighting for political survival, but willing to burn the world down to stay in said power. Now, I don't say that lightly. This man has already failed to provoke Iran into war. And now, what's he doing? He's going to try to fly across the world to beg Trump to do it for him. Why? Because Israel tried to strike Iran and failed. Their stealth F-35s, they got detected before they even crossed into Iranian airspace. And they ended up having to abort that mission. So this isn't me speculating. That's former MI6 officials and ex-CIA sources saying on the record. And that is really wild. But what do you guys think? Do you think Trump will cave into Netanyahu's plan? Or do you think he's bluffing? Boy, guys, I don't know. But here are the things, right? The bombs were ready, but the math didn't end up adding up. So the U.S. literally had B-2 bombers locked and loaded on Diego Garcia, ready to go. Tactical nukes, bunker busters, all aimed at Iran's nuclear sites. But here's the kicker. Even if those bombs hit their targets perfectly, best case scenario, they would have only delayed Iran's nuclear program by maybe a year. That's it. So what are we doing here? Because you want to ignite a regional war, risk global backlash, spend trillions in a new Middle East quagmire just to gain 12 months? Or is this really about something else? Like keeping Netanyahu in power or satisfying a Zionist vision that's been playing out since the clean break strategy? I don't know. So all these agendas, all these wars, they're so concerning. And to see more women and children die, God, man, I hope that there's some conclusion to all of this. But remember that Iran isn't Gaza. It's a fortress. And let me say this loud and clear. Iran is not Gaza. It's not Syria. And it sure the heck isn't Libya. Iran has layered air defenses. It has radar systems with a 2,000-kilometer range. It has Russian S-300s and maybe even S-400s on the ground, and possibly Russian operators alongside them. When Israel tried to test them, they failed, and I mean, they failed hard. And yet, Western media says, oh, Iran's missiles didn't even get through. Really? Because there's video proof of all this. Go watch it. Iran's missiles penetrated Israel's defenses, period. They even warned before launching, and it still landed hits. But here's what Israel does. It retaliates disproportionately. You hit one of ours, we'll level hundreds upon hundreds of yours. Except that doesn't work when your opponent isn't a refugee camp, but a sovereign nation with some of the most advanced missile defense systems in the region. So let's talk about Yemen, the underdog story. And it's the one that we don't often get to hear, right? Let's shift the lens. Why did the United States bomb Yemen? Why attack civilians? Because Yemen was targeting only Israeli ships in the Red Sea. And they stopped during the ceasefire. But then Israel broke that ceasefire. And of course, Yemen resumed. So it's simple cause and effect. But the United States, they bombed tribal gatherings and posted it online and said these were militants. And that's wrong. They were likely celebrating a real tragedy. And the US had no ground intel. They were dropping bombs using satellite feeds, guessing, assuming, and killing civilians in the process. And when Yemen struck back, they took down US Reaper drones. And that's $30 to $40 million a pop. Downed again and again until the Pentagon was facing a shortage. So what do you guys think? Is this war, or is this a massacre disguised as security? I don't know. So the other thing is the most ridiculous national security leak ever has occurred. And this is where it starts to get laughable. If it weren't so deadly and there wasn't so much at stake, the US National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, accidentally added a journalist to a secret Signal group chat when they were discussing Yemen war plans. Seriously, this happened. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know about it. It was all over the news. And their new defense minister, Pete Hegseth, a former Fox News anchor, just imagine if Tucker Carlson became the US Secretary of Defense tomorrow. Because that's what's actually happening here. A man who was hosting a primetime news months ago is now making real-time calls on life and death military operations. We got to remember that this isn't a strategy. It seems like it's a sitcom, but real people are dying. Real children are dying. Real women are dying. And I don't know what benefit it possibly could be to the United States. Which leads us to the Iran talks, right? Is it a real negotiation, or is it strategic theater? Because here's where we're at right now, right? The United States and Iran are technically negotiating, but not face to face. Messages are being passed, but it's like middle school diplomacy. And who's representing the United States? It's Steve Bitkoff, a builder from New York, a builder, not a diplomat, not a strategist, a real estate guy, because Trump trusts him. And again, it's not a parody, it's real life. What does Iran want, though? Basic respect, no nukes equal we have a deal? I don't know. But if the US demands no nuclear enrichment at all, that's a non-starter, right? Iran needs enrichment for medical use, not weapons. Although I'm pretty sure that may be an inevitability at some point. But they're open to monitoring by the IAEA. And I guess that's a form of compromise, right? That's called diplomacy. But if we go back to the old Libya option, we all know how that ended. And it's just brutal. Now, Israel's real endgame and why it's so dangerous. Let's not sugarcoat this. Israel wants the US to fight its wars for them. Always has. And they just appointed a former Israeli defense ministry official to lead the United States national security on Iran and Israel. That's like hiring a McDonald's worker to run the FDA. This is Israel first foreign policy, dressed up in American flags. And the goal, I don't know, but keep Iran in perpetual conflict? Why? Because chaos in the Middle East keeps Netanyahu in power? It keeps the weapons contracts flowing? And it distracts from the genocide in Gaza? But the moment Trump says yes to this, it's not just Iran he's going up against. It's Russia, and it's China, and it's the entire global South. It's crazy. The bigger picture, BRICS and the Belt and the Road and the New World Order, Iran, Russia, and China aren't just allies. They're actually building an economic military bloc. With joint naval exercises, actually, intelligence sharing and mutual defense frameworks. And guess who's helping bridge diplomacy between Iran and Saudi Arabia? It's not the US, it's China. This isn't about ideology anymore. It's about power, trade routes, oil, sanctions, resistance. And if war breaks out right now, it won't be Iraq 2.0. It will be World War Economic Edition. I don't know, guys. If you're still there, thank you. Take a breath, breathe. I'm going to breathe. Now, tell me, guys, in the comments, if you were running the U.S. foreign policy right now, what would you do? Would you back Israel's aggression? Or would you broker and peace? Would you broker peace, reclaim credibility in the world? I want to hear from you guys. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Maybe I'm completely off on my analysis of it all. I would love to know what you guys think, because it isn't just about facts. It's about all of us critically thinking together, right? So what's next? And what's at stake? Right now, we're at the fork in the road. Either common sense is going to prevail and a deal gets done, or egos are going to win and the world burns. Iran doesn't want war. Neither does the United States public. But politicians, they're playing games with people's futures. And Trump's tariffs have already isolated the United States economically. Backing Israel in a preemptive strike on Iran would only isolate it morally and possibly permanently. The global South is watching right now. India doesn't want oil prices to spike. Europe doesn't want more refugees. And the world doesn't want another endless war. So here's the final question. Who is America fighting for? Its people or someone else's agenda? Thank you guys so much for watching The Baseline. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like I said before, maybe I've got the analysis all wrong. And I would really love to hear your guys' opinions on all this. And again, thank you again for watching The Baseline, and we'll guys catch you the next round. All right. Cheers, everybody.